The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien coming to you live from TFNN, 8:30 a.m. Thursday morning, 60 minutes to go until the opening bell. Thursday morning, 8:30 a.m., always an interesting time, especially lately. We're going to get the initial weekly jobless claims coming up in a moment. We got the ECB out there this morning as well, and markets kicking things off in negative territory. A little bit of an extension of the run we had yesterday, putting this on a 15-minute. There's your acceleration in the S&Ps, folks. We'll kick it back to yesterday. You go from 37.10 down to 36.60. That's 50 S&P points. By 2 p.m. Eastern time, you chop around at that level, and we're right back at that level this morning, folks. 36.66 in the S&P futures. NASDAQ, you see the acceleration. We're talking about almost 400 points, folks. From almost 12,700, we make it down to 12,282 within about 7 points, actually, from that would make it 400 points from where we were on Sunday night to the lows we had this morning. You see the acceleration, 12,312 in the NQs. The Dow hanging on to 30,042 right now. You get the Russell off about 2 points at 1901. We'll jump around to commodities. Crude oil up 71 cents at 46.23. Crude continuing to keep that bid, keeping it above $45. Some strength there on crude. Natural gas down a penny at 242. Got to check in on Bitcoin, continuing to slide a bit. We were at 17,705 yesterday, currently trading at 18,165. Gold up $6 at 1844. Quite a little sell-off gold had yesterday, almost $50 from Tuesday action into Wednesday's lows of 1830. Silver's up 18 cents at 24.17 right now. And notes and bonds, pretty muted action. The 10-year up 2 ticks right now at 137.22. The 30-year up 7 ticks right now. Jumping back to the S&P, we'll jump over to the headlines of the day, and here comes the weekly jobless number, 853,000, folks. Big numbers. They were looking for 730. Those numbers going up, folks. I think the last number, would we have 790 something maybe? Hopefully we get a little bit of stimulus to get us over the next 3 or 6 months, especially. Some of those industries hit the hardest. Let me get my earphone in. Talking about whether it's restaurants especially, right? Just restaurants, airline, any of those industries that are just decimated right now in the next 3-6 months. But folks, this is a weekly number, almost 1 million people, and we lose touch of the normalcy of what we were in prior to this pandemic. Folks, it's about to be 2021. This started in March. And every single week, we've achieved a number that would set a record prior to COVID, okay? Prior to COVID, I think the biggest number was something like $690,000 on a weekly basis. We've never seen anything like this before. And on a weekly basis, we are still losing almost 1 million people, losing their jobs, filing for weekly unemployment. But guess what, folks? The market, it shakes it off. No real reaction to that number. We're sitting at 36.64, down about 2 points, maybe you could say. You get the Dow off 28 and the Russell off 2. Maybe a slight tick to negative territory from that number, but no real huge reaction so far. We'll break down those numbers as they break them down a little bit more further in the program. Okay, what else we got going on? The government. We'll jump to the government. Pretty interesting how this will shape the continuing conversation. So you have the House voting to fund the government for a week. So what that's going to do is it's basically going to push back the deadline. So as Bloomberg puts it, the COVID-19 relief deal delayed with Pelosi, McConnell holding back. And of course they're vital in terms of McConnell, Pelosi. They've given no signs yet. You're talking about whether it's the $916 billion proposal from the White House and Secretary of Treasury Mnuchin, or you're talking about the House bill seeking $908 billion. How the details of those two bills collide, we will find out. But nonetheless, you got a week-long reprieve as the government passes that week-long spending bill to allow them a little bit more time to negotiate. Yeah, jobless claims rise more than expected, as I mentioned, but the S&P, folks, maybe a little bit of negative action. We'll see if this picks up any steam. We're going for the lows that we had yesterday. We're only a couple points away, 36.60 with the lows in the S&P. We'll see where we hit this morning. Okay, jumping around to what else we got going on. How about Facebook? We'll see. This is an interesting one of how this comes about. So you got U.S. antitrust lawsuits seek divestment of Instagram and WhatsApp. Facebook's bet on the future are at risk if deals are unwound. Yeah, I would say so. Both of those companies, parts of Facebook, integral to Facebook. I'm a big fan of Instagram. I love scrolling pictures, see my cousins, see my nephews, my nieces, all that beautiful stuff. Not a fan of Facebook. Facebook's just turned into a place where people can vent, people can complain. People, it's an echo chamber, folks. People don't get excited to wake up every day and write paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs about how happy they are with their life on a daily basis. Sometimes people do, and credit to them. It's a lot easier to hear people complaining on Facebook, folks, whether it's about politics, as we all know, whether it's just about anything that's on your mind. So not a fan of Facebook, but it's pretty tough to go back and unwind some of these things going so far back. I mean, we're talking about now, what's always interesting here, so $715 million gets thrown around. $1 billion was out there at the time. I wonder how that plays out. Maybe it was like an all-stock deal, and the stock was valued at $715 million. Maybe someone could throw it in the den if they know, because I remember $1 billion, but now the number that gets pushed out there is $715 million for Instagram. Talk about a bargain, folks. I think that company's worth like hundreds of billions of dollars at this point. And then WhatsApp, $22 billion they paid for that one. Talk about paying up 2 years later for service. WhatsApp, huge in terms of communicating across Europe. But when you start going back 10 years to break apart some of these companies, a little bit of revisionist history, as they were talking about early this morning on Bloomberg, they should have stopped this deal at the time because of the anti-competitive nature that we now see is so obvious, right? Facebook controls Instagram, the two biggest players out there. They bought Instagram to squash that competition. But to go back 10 years later, we'll see what comes out. It'll be an interesting case to see what kind of power the government has to go back so far in time. Not sure that's a good precedent to set. We'll see what comes out with that antitrust suit. But the FTC wants Facebook to divest the two businesses. Pretty tough deal there, as they have intertwined those two in a big way. So we'll see how that plays out. Jumping over to Facebook shares this morning, and there you see the acceleration. But considering the market sell-off we had yesterday, not a real sell-off in Facebook. You got an antitrust suit with, you're talking about, I think it was 48 states filing on. Do they say it? Yeah, I believe it was 48 states filing on to this. And Facebook is pretty much unchanged on a daily basis, right? I mean, check it out. That's a daily going back a year. You're all the way up to 300. I mean, at some point in this, was this the period of time in June where they talked about some of the antitrust, and you got a small reprieve down to almost a low of 207? Before trading up almost $100 to 304. We've basically been consolidating, you could say, since this pop on their earnings in late July, from about a price point of 260 to the upper round end of about 300. And when the market sells off yesterday, you had Facebook down a bit, but no real huge reaction. Doesn't seem like the market is super worried about Facebook getting forced to divest Instagram or WhatsApp, because that, folks, would have quite an impact on that chart as they just combine those two companies. And, of course, they're anti-competitive. That's my take. But, of course, they are. Doesn't mean you can go back 10, 15 years, because right now it seems so easy. Back then, $1 billion, 2012, for a company like that, not a guarantee. Stay tuned, folks. We got a lot to cover.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. Are you looking to buy or sell gold, silver, platinum, coins, or bullion? We can help. At Tiger Precious Metals and Stones, we specialize in the buying and selling of gold, silver, as well as collectible U.S. and foreign coins. We not only buy your unwanted or broken jewelry, but you can trade that in for gold and silver coins, too. Call Andy now at 727-329-8245 for a quote over the phone and to lock in the current market price. Call us now at 727-329-8245.
TFNN has just launched our Tiger Dollar Holiday Sale. For a limited time, we've doubled all the Tiger Dollar bonuses, where you can now get up to a 20, 30, or even a 40% bonus on your Tiger Dollar purchase. Tiger Dollars are good for all TFNN newsletters, webinars, and services, and never expire. Whether you're a current subscriber or just thinking of signing up for any TFNN products in the future, this is a great time to get your Tiger Dollars. happy holidays from all of us at TFNN.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&Ps -9, NASDAQ -64, Dow -43. All the indices kind of just hanging out where we started the program at 8:30, folks. You see the volatility. We had a sell-off coming into this number, okay? And we'll jump around to some of the stories. So ECB out there today, they're going to expand and extend their bond buying as coronavirus resurgence weighs on the recovery. Putting it lightly, probably. Excuse me. As expected, they held the interest rates on its main refinancing options at 0%, 0.25, and and 0.5 respectively. Markets had largely expected the bank to add to its bond buying, expanded its massive monetary stimulus program by another 500 billion euros or 605 billion US as a second wave of lockdown measures weighs on the euro area's economic recovery, held the interest rates as is. They launched a pandemic emergency purchase program earlier this year in a bid to shore up the bloc's economy in the wake of the pandemic. Following Thursday's expansion, the total asset purchase value is now at 1.85 trillion euros. Quite a number, folks. And the ECB extended the horizon for purchases under that program, which is the Pandemic Emergency Purchase Program, PEPP. Get all these PEEP, personal protected, PP&E, right? So 1.85 trillion, and let's see, and the ECB extended the horizon under that to March of 2022, folks. You're talking about a solid, what is that, 16 months about that we are out from that date. Reinvestments of assets maturing from there have also been extended until the end of 2023. You're talking about 3 solid years, folks, that they're going to be in there with that money, shoring up the block's economy in the wake of the pandemic. Total asset purchase value. Strong number out there from them. All right, what else we got going on? Jump around to some of the stories. It's still an IPO season. Airbnb seeking a $47 billion valuation. Price shares at $68 in their IPO. We'll jump over to Doordash in a moment. They had quite the day yesterday, folks. So Airbnb, it's interesting, right? During all this time, they're pushing it out. Markets is at highs, folks. They're selling it at $68 above its range. They're going to value the company at $47 billion on a fully diluted basis. And let's see. Yeah, so they made $219 million in net income. I mean, they're profitable on revenue. Right now, they're profitable too. Of $1.34 billion last quarter, that was down 19% from $1.65 billion the year earlier. Despite primarily turning net losses, the company has had other occasional quarters of profitability, including second and third of 2018 and third of 2019. So they got some profits mixing in there, a little volatility, a little variance coming into their profitability quarter by quarter. In the full year of 2019, the company reported a net loss of $674 million on revenue of almost $5 billion. Thus far in 2020, has turned a net loss of nearly $697 million on revenue of $2.52 billion. Nonetheless, they'll be coming out. Interesting to see how they trade, especially in light of what's going on right now in the world. We'll jump over to Doordash. How about this stock, folks? There's a 15-minute, starts trading yesterday at about 12:30 in the afternoon. Looks like you open at 182. Somehow you get a tick. Let's put it on a 1 minute and see where we get back to. Yeah, that was a pretty short-lived tick down to 163.80. We got a 1 minute chart here. Within a couple minutes, you're up to 195. Folks, this priced at 102. It's almost a double banger on the first day. That's used to how IPOs used to go, but a lot of demand in the food delivery business. Interesting when you look at Uber. Uber really accelerated on the news that when the news started to break yesterday that when DoorDash started trading, they were going to open at like 180. And I believe that, Uber saw quite a lift, no pun intended, on the heels. If there's that much demand for a company like DoorDash, then that's going to translate to demand for a company like Uber. Uber has ride delivery, but they also have food delivery. And if there's that much demand that was maybe not anticipated, that would be a good sign for Uber. But guess what? You give it up just as quick as you got it, from $56 down to almost $53. We're going to open a little bit lower this morning for Uber shares. We'll jump over to Lyft since we mentioned them. They got a little bit of a boost yesterday as well on that news. Now you see we're still on 1 minute charts, okay? You see the run really begin to start to run, and that is when, I believe, about 11:45 in the morning, that you start coming out with news that this thing is going to price in terms of Uber in terms of DoorDash at quite an elevated level. But just like the markets, folks, we'll put it back on a 15-minute. You see the sell-off we had. You check over the S&P. I mean, everything sold off on this thing. Jumping around to some of the FANG stocks yesterday, quite the slide for the NASDAQ. How about Apple going from almost 126 to 121? We're down a little bit lower to 120.81 this morning. We'll check in on Amazon, the big dog. They're down at 3,087. Microsoft shares traded from about 216 to 212 yesterday, all over the place. Netflix shares as well from 515 to 490. And don't say it, folks. It feels like blasphemy talking about Tesla trading lower, but it happened, and it's continuing to happen. Maybe this was the time that we got a little bit of a natural pullback. It's pretty tough when you get almost $100 pullback for a natural pullback. But, folks, we're back to where we were Friday. Last Friday, we were trading. And it's not even a week yet, okay? You go back to Thursday to make it even more spicy. We were trading about 583. We're trading at 572. Okay, so that's a week of action. We got all the way up here. Tesla announces the $5 billion share offering. Somehow you trade positive the next day. Don't ask me how, folks. And then the pain begins on Wednesday as maybe investors wake up and said $700 might be a little pricey for this stock. Even Elon is selling company shares and taking the money that people will give him at that price. 573, the price of Tesla. We'll see where that ends. But again, for some context, folks, geez, I don't even want to have to tell you what kind of Fibonacci deals you'll be dealing with for natural retracements when you've had a run of this staggering degree. Even, let's just zoom it in on the recent run we've had from 370 up to about a price point of 654. We're looking at a 382 retracement of somewhere in the neighborhood of about 550. Okay, we're open at 573. These pullbacks, folks, they're so quick sometimes. Now, that's the most conservative, really, of where you started. I mean, you could start it here, but realistically, I would say the natural one, when the euphoria really began, was when they announced the stock split of 270, because this thing has run from 270 to 660 on basically news that they were going to split, and also the news that they were going to be added to the S&P 500, which an astute investor knew was coming somewhere down the line. And, folks, you back it up from that 270, a 382 on that run is about 510, maybe, give or take. So this morning we're going to open back up, like I mentioned, about 570, quite a pullback. We lost about $100 from where that news broke of that offering. All right, what else we got going on, folks? If you head on over to the front page of TFNN, you will see our man Basil Chapman. He is going up on prices, folks. I think it's been like 10, 15 years since Basil has gone up on his prices. January 1st, he'll have new pricing for the opening call. He did a great show filling in for Larry yesterday during Larry's live trading webinar, which went great. Thanks for all those that attended. A great crowd of traders in there. Lots of great questions. It was great to see that community of tigers and tigresses out there adding to the value of that webinar with Larry. Basil, he'll be going up on prices. So right now you can sign up for his opening call. Folks, if you haven't tried it out, give it a try. You lock in the rate of his current rate right now on the opening call, and you can sign up. You can sign up for a month for $128. You can sign up for 6 months for $595, a year for $995. You lock in those rates, folks. We're not going to raise anybody's rates who is a current subscriber. It'll only be new subscribers in the next year. Basil's going to be talking about it on his program today. He'll be going up for rates in the first time in over a decade. So check that out. You still get a 30-day money-back guarantee. Lock in those rates for as long as you stay on as a subscriber. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as,
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
you see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archived workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get the competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We're seeing a little bit of an acceleration to lower prices. We have the S&Ps now just dipping below the lows we had yesterday. You're off 16 points, trading at 36.56. The NQs minus 108. The Dow minus 91. A little bit of a slide, folks. We'll see where we're going to end up. The Dow coming into the lows we had yesterday. That area about 29,950. Checking in on commodities. Gold continuing to catch a bit as the market trails off a bit. You got crude oil up 62 cents right now, and we'll jump to notes and bonds. Pretty flat action in that note and bond market. We're sitting right now to pull it up for a yield of the 10-year. We're talking about 0.93% right now on that 10-year. Okay, jumping back to jobless claims. So the headline number out there that we had, you're talking about 853,000 for the week ended December 5th. On an adjusted basis, the figure increased by almost 229,000. The prior week included Thanksgiving, so you're talking about very volatile data right now. When you're talking about Thanksgiving week, there's going to be a lot of variance in that. Continuing claims, number of Americans on ongoing unemployment benefits jumped by 230,000 to 5.76 million. Both of those numbers far above what the market was looking for. Market was looking for 725,000 initial claims and 5.21 continuing claims. So you're seeing the market react a bit to that news. And I talked about Basel, folks. We also got TFNN.com, the front page. Check it out. Tiger Dollars runs through next weekend, folks, December 20th, 10 days from right now. Get your Tiger Dollars. You can use those Tiger Dollars, whether it's to sign up for Basil's opening call. As I mentioned, prices going up for Basel. Still comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, folks. Tiger Dollars, they never expire. If you use them to sign up for a service like the opening call, you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee. We'll just refund those Tiger Dollars. If it's not something you want to keep, you'll be able to use them in the future. You can get up to a 20, 30, or 40% bonus, folks, on your purchase. Usually it's only a 10, 15, or 20% bonus. So we doubled them. Only happens once or twice a year. I encourage you to check it out. Front page of TFNN.com. And stay tuned, folks. We got some market action. We might get a little negative market action today, an extension of yesterday. Go figure. We'll see. Stay tuned, folks. We got Larry Pesavento. He's coming up next. Trade what you see.